A damning new report out today from the Policy Exchange has delivered a stinging verdict, and it's claimed that the Metropolitan Police Service has adopted a so-called two-tier policing approach, favouring protest groups over public safety. Now, the report even calls on the London Mayor, Sadiq Khan, to be stripped of his powers and urges special measures to be imposed on the floundering Metropolitan Police Force. Well, Sir Keir Starmer denied there was two-tier policing all along. The report says otherwise. And joining me now to discuss this is the former Police and Crime Commissioner, Festus Akinbusoye. Welcome, Festus. Always a pleasure.
Pleasure.
So, this report is withering. It says there is two-tier policing in how the protests, the pro-Palestine protests, were soft-soaped versus other protests. But let's go back in time. When the Metropolitan Police took the knee to Black Lives Matter, it was abundantly clear there was two-tier policing.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, I think that was definitely the wrong decision for those officers to take the knee. There are ways to show your solidarity if you want to, but not when you're in police uniform. Your job, when you're in the uniform, is to enforce the law without fear or favour. That was the wrong decision, in my opinion. I was quite public about that when I was Police and Crime Commissioner, making sure that in Bedfordshire at that time, that was not going to happen if there were any protests there. It was the wrong thing, and I think it just sent the wrong message at that time.
And when we look at this report from Policy Exchange today, it's called A Long Way to Go. It claims that Scotland Yard is due to prioritise the rights of protesters over the rights of the wider public. And Festus, that's something else that's frustrated our viewers all along. How can people sit down from Just Stop Oil and stop ordinary people getting to work?
I mean, when you have a situation at the moment where since 2016, where at that particular time, the level of public confidence in London by Londoners in the police was about 69%. This is now plummeted to 45%. That has got to send hairs racing in MOPAC, in the Mayor's Office for Police and Crime, and for the Mayor as well, and indeed for the Commissioner. Now, I know some absolutely amazing police officers in the Met. They do a great job. They really want to protect their communities. However, when you've got this level of issues, someone is going to be asking the question, why is this happening and why now?
The report concludes that the forces of law and order have lost control of the streets and yielded control to the mob. They're particularly here talking about the pro-Palestine protests, and they claim in this report that the police force appeared to favour Muslims over Jews.
I mean, this has been a constant issue that people have been raising all the time. I think there is some credence, some of those claims. But look, like I said before, and I say it again, policing is a very, very difficult job. And, you know, you're never going to win for even trying. But at least you've got to try and address the perception of being biased. And the way you do that is not by gaslighting people and telling them that, you know, they're just making up stuff or they're scaremongering and trying to divide communities. Actually sit with the people who are raising these issues and try to see things from their point of view. I think that is the job of a mayor, not to pick sides. You have got to listen to people who are raising very legitimate concerns and try to address those.
Now, Festus, you mentioned there the Mayor of London. A lot of people might not know watching this show, but the Mayor of London, Sir Sadiq Khan, is the de facto Police and Crime Commissioner. He's in charge of law and order when it suits him, but not when it doesn't. But this report specifically is withering about his politically motivated choice, as this report concludes, to cut back on stop and search. It says that that's had a catastrophic impact on the fight against crime. Is Sadiq Khan responsible for that?
You are right. The Mayor of London is the Police and Crime Commissioner for London. So it was my equivalent, effectively, in another part when it comes to policing. The reality is this: you are not going to keep people safer if you, as a mayor with political responsibility and oversight of policing, you're pretty much telling the police to stop doing stop and search or to reduce stop and search. During my term, I'm proud to say that we actually doubled stop and search. Overall crime fell, and the amount of people who were being arrested for carrying weapons, that also increased. The thing is this, in London, the stop and search between 2016 and 2024 has more than halved in terms of the prevalence of those. Over the same period, knife crime has increased. On a positive side, in the last 12 months or so, homicides have fallen in London and the amount of violent offending has fallen. But if you look at the longer-term trend, it ain't good at all. And stop and search, done properly, is an amazing tool for keeping people safe. And we need to see more of it being done in London for sure.
Festus, you're always channeling common sense. It's a pleasure to have your company in the studio once again.